The NFL playoffs are set, and we have some juicy storylines set up for the upcoming wildcard weekend.
Two circumstances earlier with the Jacksonville Jaguars loss, the Buffalo Bills already clinched the playoff spot. Now it's just a matter of are they the 2 seed, the 6 seed, or the 7 seed. And as always, Miami did it once again. They lost to another good team.
Miami are frauds. I'm putting it out there.
In today's episode, we talk about the playoffs and react to the shocking trade between the Ducks and Flyers.
Initial reaction. What the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Right? We're like, okay, it was a shock trade for sure.
And we react to the College Football National Championship game.
Battle of the undefeateds, 1 and 2, and Michigan was in control for the whole game.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the BTR podcast.
Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe.
As always, make sure you guys follow our socials linked down below. And as always, download the podcast if you're listening to it on audio platforms, and make sure you rate it and review it as well. Before we continue, just a couple of things to update on you guys. Number one, first and foremost, thank you once again. 300 subscribers. We've hit it last week. We appreciate you, everybody, for watching that Canucks video, which is the one that caused it. Shout out Jobin once again for that. 300. We're already at 314. So let's get to 400 as soon as possible.
Yeah, 400 is a goal. Road to 1,000 eventually, but 400.
Starting off the new year, got another milestone. Let's continue that as well. Thank you once again. And another update very quickly, as again, we've been dropping episodes on Tuesdays. The reason for this month, until the NFL playoffs, or at least the first 1 or 2 rounds are done, we're going to drop probably on Tuesdays for a couple of reasons. One, we have games on Sunday nights. We have soccer games on Sunday nights now, which will make it tough. And plus, especially if there's a Sunday night game.
Plus, games are on. There's Monday night games as well. So yeah. So for the playoffs, we want to cover like everything at once. Yeah. We don't want to like miss a game out.
So expect Tuesday episodes. So Monday night recordings. As Jovan mentioned,
just for the next couple of weeks, and then we'll go back to our original one.
For sure. Yeah. So we'll go back to Monday, Thursday as soon as possible. One other thing, this weekend, dropping a banger video with a guest that we recorded with. As long as there's no technical difficulties, stay tuned. Stay tuned Saturday night.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's get right into it. The NFL playoffs are officially set.
Depressing weekend for us. But we'll get into other teams first. Recap over the weekend. Where do you want to go? NFC side or AFC side first?
I feel like AFC had the bigger stories, right?
All right, fine. AFC side first. As you guys already know, the locks coming into the week were Ravens at 1, Browns at 5, Chiefs at 3. Question marks were at the AFC South division, which is the 4th seed, AFC East division, and the 6th and 7th seeds. We'll start off with the Sunday nighter with the AFC East. And due to circumstances earlier with the Jacksonville Jaguars loss, the Buffalo Bills already clinched the playoff spot. Now it's just a matter of are they the 2 seed, the 6 seed, or the 7 seed. And as always, Miami did it once again. They lost to another good team.
Miami are frauds. I'm putting it out there. Only one win, barely beating the Dallas Cowboys. Outside of that, they lost to the Buffalo Bills twice. Now they're facing, which we're not going to preview the playoffs series. Or not series.
This is just recap. Preview. Stay tuned for the next one. But we'll
tell you the matchups and the storylines with it. But the next episode will have our predictions of full NFL recap, just because we have a lot more to get into today.
But what are your thoughts on the game first? Then we'll go into the matchups.
Game started off classic Josh Allen. Is he gonna choke this?
3 turnovers.
Yeah, and obviously Miami didn't make them pay either. So obviously we couldn't watch. No, we did kind of. You watched it a little bit more than me, but yeah. Overall though, Miami should have home court or home field on this game, and the problem was they couldn't do it again. They had the division pretty much 15 weeks, 16 weeks of the season. They had the division.
They had it locked 1 month ago. The division was a lock. 3 games ahead with around like 4 or 5 games left.
Yeah, and they choked it, and now just because of that, they have to travel to Arrowhead, which we'll talk about in a second. But
flip side, Bills on a heater.
My prediction might be right from preseason.
Yes, it's not the cleanest football.
For sure,
we all agree it's not the cleanest football from the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, Diggs finally played a game, which obviously kind of hurts me. I'm not gonna get into that reasons. They've been on a heater. We were questioning them after the Eagles lost. They were 6-6. The Eagles were 10-1. They have the same record now, by
They
the way.
flipped,
That's
Pretty much since
but the
Joe-
thing was this.
since Joe Brady
It
came
was
in.
it was Eagles, it was Chiefs, there was Miami game, there was a Cowboys game,
Yeah.
right? They lost the Eagles one. We're like, okay, these guys are gonna be tough. They won everything,
Yeah.
right? You gotta give respect to Joe Brady, as you said. You gotta give respect to the players. You gotta respect to McDermott, and they ruled the AFC East once again. And one point they were 6-6, 5-game winning streak to end off the year, getting hot at the right time. And obviously, earlier on, people were like, are these guys going to be the contenders? Now you have to put in that conversation again because this is the best time to be hot.
Yeah. My prediction might be right, like I said, from the preseason. Yeah, nothing much else to say, but they handled the business. They got the key turnover when they needed to. Tua doesn't look great. Mike McDaniel's got to figure out his play calling against these good teams. Otherwise, he's screwed because he's going to face Kansas City Chiefs, and they're a good defense. So there's that.
That's true.
The good news is you're playing Kansas City Chiefs, and they haven't been on shit either this year. We'll talk about that later. But let's go to the different matchup. That's just wrapped up the Sunday Nighter there. Let's talk about the AFC South.
AFC South. So as I mentioned before, Jaguars' loss means the Bills clinched already, but Steelers also won, meaning that the Steelers clinched, and the winner of the Saturday night game, which was the Houston Texans, clinched the AFC South. We'll start off with the Jags and how disappointing they have been.
Just to say, I'm going to give a spoiler right now. We're going to be doing a tier list. As everybody knows, we drop a tier list after every mid-season and end of season. Jaguars are going to the F. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Trevor Lawrence fan. I get it. He was hurt, but there's no... You were labeled as the next guy since Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck was labeled... When he was labeled, he lived up to it minus the injuries, and that's not fully on him. Well, clearly, as Colts fans, we know that. There's no excuse for you not to win that type of game. After starting off a promising start to the season, promising end to last year, again, it could be the injury, it could not be the injury, but there's no excuses. You're supposed to be the guy. If every other quarterback doesn't get an excuse, you don't deserve one. You don't get an excuse either. So that's the number one disappointment. Number two, you had the division locked up. You and the Saints were literally the two South. We had locks. That you guys are going to be like 11-6 or whatever the math equals
just
to.
win the division.
Yeah,
Simple.
easily, no choice whatsoever. Both of you guys failed to live to that. The difference is the Saints were bad from the beginning. You guys had it locked up, and you guys choked late. Simple as that.
So
just because of that, we'll just say right now they fired their defensive coordinator, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So rightfully so in a way. I don't think Doug should get fired, obviously.
they fired Mike Caldwell. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think Doug will get fired. I don't think he deserves to be fired after 1 year, after a collapse. But damn, you guys were supposed to be the class of the division. Two other teams are supposed to be terrible, who ended up fighting for the division spot, let alone being the worst two teams in the division. But yeah, Jacksonville cannot happen. You guys are finally coming into your own way. You kind of were like turned into the Seattle Mariners in a sense. You finally
but
stepped up and you choke it.
It's not like it's not over for you guys. You're still fine.
Oh yeah.
It will just you gotta clean up some couple things here, a couple of things there.
The problem is that division's gonna be a juggernaut starting
That's the issue.
to come on. As long as
this was
healthy.
the year, because starting next year, it's not gonna be easy.
Well, Houston
we'll
proved
flip.
it.
Yeah, we'll flip it to the next conversation. Steelers, obviously, find a way to get in again. I don't know what the hell do they need a quarterback? Like, they've always find a way to make it in without a quarterback,
Well,
right?
to win it all, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously, this has been the Steelers for the last 17 years, ever since Tomlin's tenure. Mason Rudolph will probably start against Buffalo, which says a lot about the second seed
now.
And Mason Rudolph, their best quarterback this year, their freaking savior. And obviously, they beat a backup Baltimore Ravens team. You were expected to win. You got the job done at the end of the day. You guys always find a way to get it done. But the issue is, you guys are always the first round exits. No, doesn't matter if you went that 1 year to the Cleveland Browns where you were down by 20 in the first half.
Yeah.
Or the other thing was last couple of years where you barely sneak into the 7th seed and get out in the first round. So I feel like the same thing will happen again.
So not surprising. I mean, at the end of the day, Mike Tomlin is probably, you could argue, he's gonna get his extension. He deserves it, obviously.
Oh yeah.
So
they are facing the 2-seeded Buffalo Bills. They're going to Buffalo. And the other matchup we already said, the Chiefs and the Dolphins.
So Actually, we'll come back to the matchups in a second. Let's talk about the Saturday nighter.
There's one left, and this is the last one.
This is so in hindsight, because this was a Saturday night game. We're going to reverse order. So like we said, the division was up for grabs for sure. After we finding out Jags ended up losing, the winner of this was definitely going to be the division winner. So Saturday night,
No matter what happened, the winner of this game was in the playoffs, wild card or division winner.
yeah. So it ended up being the division winner, and it ended up being the Houston Texans. And obviously, we're Colts fans, like we said. Horrible start by them, the Colts. Offensively, defensively, they held their own except for the first play, literally.
Yeah.
And then the last drive of the first half, and then the last Texans drive when they took over the lead. Houston, well-deserved. Great defensive game plan by D'Amico Ryans. Not a surprise. Great leader, obviously. CJ Stroud. I'll tell you this much. If someone were to wake up from a coma after many years, or, you've never watched football in your life and you were tuned into that one game or just a couple of games of CJ Stroud this year, you're not going to believe he's a rookie.
Exactly.
Simple as that. CJ Stroud, now, after the whole season has ended, is my third place MVP if I have one.
What he did that game was incredible.
That game definitely
made some incredible
now,
throws.
like, your argument made a lot of sense when he said he should have been MVP or consideration. I think he's a third
Hey,
this year.
all right. Thing is this, right? He's technically already played a playoff game. That is a playoff game
Away.
right there and away. And he said himself, Indy was loud.
Yeah.
Right. It's probably the loudest stadium he played in all year. Obviously, due to the circumstances, makes sense. CJ Stroud made some incredible plays, incredible throws, used his legs, and obviously the one we're looking back at is the one to Nico Collins where he's fading away. We thought he threw it away, but then Nico Collins got to the end of it. Stud, Houston found himself a gem, and
Not only him,
Dave,
Will Anderson, who was
Will
injured,
Anderson
though.
as well. But no, these guys are a young team in general. Like, we gotta give. Obviously, we've been mentioning D'Amico Ryans and CJ Stroud. We gotta mention Nick Caserio, their GM. Drafted Jalen Petrie. They drafted CJ Stroud. Traded up for Will Anderson. This Houston GM was aggressive. They signed Steven Nelson. They got Jimmy Ward. They got all these guys. Went aggressive. Made this team into a playoff team and a young team as well. There's no big age difference. They're like a similar age group here of their core players.
One of the youngest teams in the league, obviously. So I think the youngest was Green Bay, who ended up making it, and then obviously Indy was also on the younger side of things as well. But yeah, so Houston, well deserved. Shot not even just both teams, Houston, Indy. No matter what, it's a successful season, whether they have missed or not.
100%. 100% successful season.
We'll talk about Indy in a second, but Texans have 3 awards locked up. D'Amico should be Coach of the Year, official now. For me, okay, all-right conversation very quickly. We know it's gonna be CJ Stroud, and I know it's deserved.
Yes, Puka has a shout. We're gonna make this very quick.
The reason why
It's gonna be Stroud.
No, but
It's gonna be
now
Stroud.
when you listen to this thing for a second,
Yeah.
Puka broke records.
I know he broke a freaking 60-year-old record.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks always get favored, man. That's just how
But
it
if
is.
you have a vote, because you're a wide receiver bias.
Oh yeah, I'm going Puka.
So you're going to give it to Puka now.
Yeah.
Before it was all day CJ Stroud, then until you found out this thing.
Oh, I mean, he was close to the record. I was like, he had to break the record to do it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't think it's unanimous. I think Puka should get votes.
Oh, 100%.
That's all I'm going to say.
100%.
Puka should get votes.
Puka has my vote.
Like you said, CJ did what he did. Great as a quarterback. I understand that. But he didn't really break records as a rookie.
I mean,
I understand he was injured.
he missed 2 games.
But he didn't break records. Puka did. So there's that argument. We'll let you guys decide that down below. But yeah.
O'Roy
So
and-
they had O'Roy, and then D-Roy is most likely Will Anderson Jr. So 3 awards there. And then throw in the MVP conversation in CJ Stroud as well. Indy, like we said, not a great start to the game.
Oh, as simple as this, bro. When you go 0 for freaking 10 on third downs,
And finished 1 for 11.
finished 1 for 11, I think.
It was literally the last
I think 1 for 12 combining the 4th down play. You got to stay on the field, right? Like, the best way to defend CJ Stroud is to keep him off the field.
And they were doing that.
And you did that in the third quarter, especially when you got Jonathan Taylor on his... was just going all game. I don't want to say he got going in the third quarter. He was going all game. But you were able to stay on the field. And you were able to convert long drive after long drive. Houston didn't do anything in the third quarter, right? Run the ball effectively. You needed to do that this game. You did that. But the passing game was just not there. Wide receivers weren't open. Minshew wasn't Minshew from a couple weeks ago against the Steelers game, or even last week against the Raiders where he played pretty well. And he was just off target off target all night. Obviously made a couple throws here and there, especially in the third quarter. But the biggest off target throw is going to be the last play.
So about the last play, there's a lot of controversy. Many things are going to be right. Was it a right play call? I believe yes.
Yes.
It's fine. Was Minshew off target? Yes. Should Tyler Goodson have made the catch? Yes. Should Tyler Goodson have been on the field? No. I agree that it should have been Jonathan Taylor.
So you just reverse, like, depending on the questions you ask, right? Play call, right. At the end of the day, people are saying run it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong to run it. But you can't complain when the guy is wide open and guaranteed a first down if he makes the catch.
Play call was the right play call.
Play call was right.
I was hoping for a play action with JT though.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So, obviously, Minshew, bad throw, yes. Goodson, should have caught it, yes. Play call, yes.
JT.
Taylor on the field, no.
Now, here's the end of the day. If that play was made, no one is going to be talking about it at all.
100%.
So, there was nothing wrong with the play call. The people that are blaming Steichen for not having JT on the field, okay, I get it. JT said himself that I trusted it. We practiced this a lot. Execution wasn't there. Simple as that.
It was an execution issue.
It's the same things. These are the same things that they do at fourth down, and then Mo Ali Cox. What if he had dropped that fourth down?
It's not a coaching issue. Personnel wise, obviously I could say that.
Yeah.
It was not a play call issue. We've been passing on fourth down many times this year.
Yeah.
We did the same thing, and people saying that like they should have ran the ball. You're not wrong, but here's my rebuttal to you. It was 3rd and 2, and we got stuffed.
Yeah.
We gave it to Taylor,
and Braden Smith got hurt
as well. So there's also that. Like, at the end of the day, like, I wouldn't blame them if they ran the ball. But who we were as a team is we threw it on fourth down, threw it on our 2-point conversions, those like do or die plays. We usually did the same play over and over again. Shane stayed true to who we are, and it was just an execution issue. That's all.
Shout out Tyler Goodson talking to the media after on a tough situation. Usually a guy who doesn't play much, doesn't really talk much, but he accepted it. Both Minshew accepted it as well, and Shane. All three of them are saying it's on them. Good teammates, good coach there. Unfortunate, right? But at the end of the day, to recap the ND season though, we were not even supposed to be in that position.
Exactly.
We were supposed to be fighting for Marvin Harrison Jr. most likely, and that unless we trade up, which I doubt, it's
not happening.
It's not happening, right? So the fact that we think about it, backup QB, Houston still had CJ playing the whole year.
Exactly.
So backup QB, injuries everywhere,
suspensions everywhere,
off the field stuff. Ballard needs to fix the secondary.
Taylor stuff as well,
right? So the fact that we were in this position, it was great. It wasn't like the Wentz year. Wentz year I was pissed. This year I was I was sad, but at the same time
heartbroken. Legit.
I was heartbroken,
like,
but I accepted it that like we weren't even supposed to be this good. So it's still a successful year. It's unfortunate how it ended. It wasn't the greatest.
It's like this,
that play call.
Boys get their heart broken by girls. Us men get heartbroken by sports.
So
that's how it is.
Yeah. But one thing I want to say about Indy is, look, Chris Ballard, this is a message to you. Look what Houston did in this offseason. They didn't even need to do this. They went out. They got a couple of receivers. They got Robert Woods. They got what's his name? Dalton Schultz. They added
Singletary.
They added people on the defensive side. They added Singletary. You need to be aggressive in free agency. Go get a veteran wide receiver. I don't care if it's D-Hop. I don't care if it's Mike Evans. Get someone, make a trade. You have the pick at 15, which you've traded for before towards DeForest Buckner. So do a similar trade. I don't care. You need to go get yourself a veteran wide receiver that is elite, that could hopefully, when you pay Pittman.
Alongside Pittman.
Yeah, alongside Pittman. You have JT rolling now as long as he's healthy. Hopefully, Anthony Richardson should be back as long as he's healthy. I'm excited for that. Running, it was going to be way more exciting than this year. Yes, he's still going to be technically he's not a rookie, but he'll be like rookie.
He still hasn't played like more than 5
He hasn't played he played one complete game, I think.
Huh?
He played like one complete game.
But he hasn't played more than 5 snaps with Taylor.
Yeah.
I think it was barely even 5.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be fine next year. I have faith in it. CJ Stroud came off injury and he balled out literally the last 2 games. So you need to go out, fix the secondary, whether we go trade for Jair Alexander or go draft Kool-Aid McKinstry. I don't know. You got to fix the secondary. add depth pieces. You gotta be aggressive this offseason.
Yeah,
If you're aggressive this offseason, that's how you're gonna compete in this division.
Use AR's rookie contract to your advantage now, right?
Exactly.
You have cap space.
You gotta pay.
You have 90 million. Obviously, you have 4 big free agents that you gotta re-sign. But after that, you have some room. Let's try to do something.
Figure out a way, because your job might be on the line if you don't.
So with Houston winning the division, they faced the Cleveland Browns, and now we'll get into storylines for each matchup, starting off with the Browns and Texans. This is what is called the Deshaun Watson Bowl.
Minus Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson. So obviously this game, that's the biggest storyline. Deshaun Watson's return to Houston, so he's probably just be in the stands. And obviously the Joe Flacco story will it continue. Also, flip side, CJ Stroud story. Could this guy lead him to a Super Bowl? And stay tuned for a future video for potential surprise teams to win as well.
Okay, well, he spoiled it. I wasn't going to say anything. But
that's one storyline. Next storyline.
Kansas City versus Miami, which is probably the biggest storyline, at least on the AFC side. Tyreek Hill goes home. By go home, I mean where he played starting his career off in Kansas City. So he's going back to Arrowhead. He was in Miami. He didn't go back to Arrowhead earlier.
That was in Germany.
That was in Germany, yeah. So he's going back to Arrowhead. It's gonna be crazy. Both teams are on not so great runs to end the year. So yeah, there's that one. That's the one big storyline people gotta watch out for. How are they gonna guard Tyreek Hill? Is Jalen Waddle gonna be healthy in time? Raheem Mostert gonna be healthy in time? So yeah, that storyline's going to be insane and fun to watch.
Flip over to the NFC side.
No, there's one more matchup.
Yeah, Bill Steelers, nothing there.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
no
NFC drama. Let's start off with that.
All right, coming to the week, 1 seed was locked with the 49ers, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rams were basically
practically a lock.
Obviously, if they won, which they did, and they clinched the 6th seed, and they did that. Other than that, we'll start off with the 2 seed here. Cowboys were the favorite to lock up the 2 seed and the NFC East division. All they had to do was beat the Commanders. They did that handily, and they won a road game as well, which is a little bit good confidence there. But they are playing a home game in the first round of the playoffs.
But the story is the Philadelphia Eagles. What's happening with them is, again, they started off getting their ass kicked by the Giants. That's number 1. Number 2, AJ Brown got hurt. Number 3, Jalen Hurts got hurt. And to that point, they threw in the towel and just put the backups in because they just accepted fate at that point. But that doesn't mean anything because you guys are playing the away game now against Tampa Bay. Sure, you guys should be the favorites.
It's a favorable matchup, yes.
So you're lucky in that sense. But the way you guys have been playing ain't going to cut it.
Not so favorable.
And plus, you got injuries. Your play caller's literally on the Colts. Your defensive play caller is literally on Arizona. So Matt Patricia / Sean Desai, who's probably getting fired at the end of the year, they're not doing a great job on the defensive side of things. I don't know what's happening there. And then on the flip side, offensively, your play calls have been stagnant.
Predictable. Yeah.
Everything's predictable.
But
so
the Eagles lock up the 5th seed due to an epic collapse. You're just lucky that they were a 10-win team and clinched the playoff spot.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we could have seen
the first team to clinch.
Yeah, we could have seen them be a Jaguars and be eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah.
As well. 3 seed, obviously due to a Cowboys win. The Lions clinched the 3 seed. But obviously, them being a 2 seed was a stretch because they needed the Giants and the Commanders win. It cost them Sam Laporta, potentially, as well. So, Dan Campbell's ultra aggressiveness pays off, but sometimes it doesn't. And we've seen that happen there. But we got the Lions at the 3 seed. NFC South, which is going to be the 4th seed. Buccaneers needed a win. They're hitting the Panthers.
Barely beat them.
They got the win.
They got it.
But it wasn't convincing at all.
But the 7th seed was the one that was up for grabs. Many, many possibilities, as you could tell from our video. Vikings, believe it or not, had a chance. Obviously, very, very, very slim.
Yeah.
Saints had a chance. Still slim. Almost got it, though.
Yeah, they almost did.
And then it was between the Seahawks and the Packers. Seahawks somehow won their game after being down almost the whole game against the Arizona Cardinals, which we'll talk about in a second. And then Green Bay handled their business against Chicago at the end of the day. It was close for a little bit, then they just ran away with it.
They got their game-sealing touchdown, and Green Bay Packers are your 7th seed. They were a winning-in situation.
The youngest team in the NFL,
And
I believe.
they won. Jordan Love, obviously there was a question mark first, like couple weeks, like, oh, Jordan Love's the franchise guy. Died down again and brought back.
It was
up.
a wave. It was literally
It
a
was
wave.
literally a wave. So yeah. So the storylines on the NFC side.
The biggest storyline in the NFL. Let's just start with that.
Biggest
NFL playoffs.
storyline: the 3 versus 6 seed, aka the Lions versus the Rams, aka the trade ball of Matthew Stafford for
Trade
Jared
ball.
Goff. Trade
Yeah,
ball.
Matt Stafford returning to Detroit, where he was the guy for many, many years, and they just got to the playoffs, I think, twice. Didn't get much help. Got traded. Won a Super Bowl in his first year. Jared Goff, on the flip side, will be facing his old team.
Got thrown.
Got thrown in that trade. Was given up on. Did make a Super Bowl, but it wasn't good enough. Clearly, because then Stafford ended up winning a Super Bowl with them. That's the biggest storyline. I said Tyreek Hill's the biggest storyline in the AFC. It will be second overall because this one matters more because, yes, those two teams in the AFC are matched up pretty well as well. But these guys, Rams have I have the Rams probably winning. I have to still think about it more before I make the official prediction.
Hey,
but
predictions next episode.
But I will not be surprised if I don't know what the betting odds are, but the Rams can win this game, and this is probably the worst matchup they could get in the first round with a motivated Matthew Stafford coming home as well.
But how motivated is Jared Goff playing the team that just threw him out, kicked him out of LA, and put him into windy?
We'll hold it there because we're going in the breakdown mode right now. We'll hold that there. But that's the biggest storyline.
That is a storyline there. Another storyline: Mike McCarthy and the Packers are reuniting, just in opposite sides of the field.
Yeah,
Dallas,
that one's not as big though. It's been a while since he got fired. So
yeah,
it's not
Cowboys
crazy.
Packers are the first round matchup there, and your remaining first round matchup is a rematch of Week 3 Monday Night Football: Buccaneers versus Eagles.
So I'll just say this much: for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl, obviously they have to win that game, but they gotta look good winning in that game. If they look good in that game,
There's one thing though:
what?
if the Lions and the Cowboys win, Eagles are gonna play the 49ers.
No, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles, for them to have me to have confidence, they have to look good in this win.
I don't have confidence.
I don't have confidence in that.
Yeah,
That's my point.
It's not even looking good. I'm talking about even if you do win, you're playing the best team.
Yeah, so those are the overall playoff recaps. On the flip side, though, we have some Black Monday news. I guess that's what they call it.
Yeah.
With the firings, but before that, it's official.
We'll just quickly do this.
One sec.
Yeah.
It's official that we already knew that Chicago's the first overall pick, but it is
It is Chicago.
Washington. Come on. Okay, why is this not up? This is flipped. Okay.
It's Chicago. Okay. Panthers were the worst record in football, meaning Chicago, who got Panthers 2024 first round pick. Chicago Bears are your number 1 overall
the
pick.
score had a flip weird thing.
So
I'll say
due to this, basically, we're not going to say the whole draft order.
No.
Top 3 are the Bears, the Commanders, and the Patriots. Bears have 2 top 10 picks this year. And if you're a depressing Colts fan right now, we are the
At
15th
15,
pick.
which is fine. It's a deep class.
Yeah.
To stuff that we need.
Especially
The
with
top 3 guys might draft a quarterback.
potential quarterbacks going a lot early on as well.
So the top 3 picks will probably be quarterbacks. I even if the Bears have it, I think if the Bears keep it, I feel like they go quarterback. If they don't, it's tough for me to say for sure, but we'll talk about that later.
That's all draft talk. Just
one
worry
thing
about
though-
it.
one thing
All
though-
after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, one last thing though, what I said about Arizona earlier, they are gonna keep Kyler Murray. It looks like, which I think is the right decision because of the trade last year with Houston, which helped them out. They could potentially get Marvin Harrison Jr. and another offensive tackle, another wide receiver to pair with him, or a defensive end, or any defensive piece there.
Yeah. So this is all your draft talk for now. Now we're gonna throw it all the way to the Super Bowl.
Okay, before we get to the firings, let's talk about one news that happened. Dalvin Cook was released by the Jets, and in order to sign to a contender, and he chose the best contender, probably.
The best team in football.
Which is the Baltimore Ravens. So he's officially a Baltimore Raven, depth on the running back position there. But moving on to the firings, off the bat, literally, I guess, Monday morning for them because it's Eastern Standard Time. Arthur Smith let go. Not too surprising. I didn't expect him to be maybe the first guy.
Oh, he was the first guy.
Again, it's Black Monday. Everybody gets fired on this.
Arthur
day.
Smith, after his tantrum, got fired.
Yeah.
For the
So talking
all
about
that
Atlanta
stuff.
very quickly, let's just go team by team for a second, just to what we expect. We already know the names that are going to be out there. Is Ben Johnson, the
Belichick potentially.
Belichick potentially, Jim Harbaugh now, which we'll get into college football in a second. Who's the Houston OC?
Oh, I forgot his name. Yeah,
I'll have to search that out because he deserves his respect.
it's a K. It's a SK, I think, initials.
Houston OC, but either way, that trio of weapons that we thought were gonna be fun as hell to watch needs a new offensive
Yeah,
line.
it was not used properly.
And they're
at
a
all.
team that is either gonna draft a QB that could either fall to them, or they could trade up to number
They
one.
should draft a QB. Yeah.
Or they're a team that could go out and get a guy like Justin Fields or whoever else
Potentially.
can be available.
Potentially.
Bobby Slowick.
Yeah, Bobby Slowick. So it's an S.
So he deserves a shout out there. He's probably available. We obviously have Dan Quinn, who's going to be available. Aaron Glenn on the defensive.
So
side of things.
there's a lot of
For
candidates.
them though, and they need to go offensive.
You could also have Raheem Morris. You could also have Belichick. Right? Belichick has never really had weapons in his life. It's a good enticing spot for him if he does.
Belichick did say he
Exactly.
plans on to stay. So
Yeah.
let's see.
But yeah, so obviously we just mentioned all the potential candidates there. Atlanta fired their coach. Washington Commanders fired Ron Rivera as well. So
Not surprising.
they'll be looking for, obviously, just expected. Whatever expected to happen has happened for both teams. And they'll be looking for a coach as well. Obviously, we have just named a bunch of candidates.
Sticking with Washington though, they made an interesting move though. Right after they fired him. I'm going to get the exact details, but Bob Myers, and you would be like, the guy from the Warriors? And to answer your question, yes, the guy from the Warriors is one of the consultants for this, which
Hey.
is kind of weird.
Good GM. Just wrong sport, but good GM.
It's more so I guess, how to build a good franchise, and clearly look at the Warriors for all those years.
Good GM.
He's pairing up with a older, one of the older Vikings GMs. So they're gonna obviously set a culture there after Dan Schneider left. This was the first year that Josh Harris and Magic Johnson were owning the team. So makes sense. I think a lot of people are probably happy to join that group. So they want to try to change the culture everywhere around. I think this is it for Ron Rivera as a coach, probably.
Yeah.
I can't see him. He
I
had
think the same
opportunities.
boat as Frank Reich. I think is done for both of them.
Panthers, they fired their GM John Fitterer, so they're going literally all out. So they need to go get a GM ASAP.
I mean, when you have Tepper reacting like that, you expect something to happen.
so you need to get your GM first before you could even consider getting coaching.
Exactly.
Washington already requested interviews everywhere.
And so did the Raiders. For example, Ed Dodds, Colts assistant GM, has been requested by the Raiders, as well as 49ers assistant as well.
And Wink Martindale has resigned from the Giants, along with two potential assistants.
That's a smart decision.
So it's crazy. Chargers request interview with 49ers Wilkes, who's the DC. Like I said, he might get a job somewhere. Saints are considering adding Gruden to the staff. So speaking of a coaching firing snub, or however you want to word it, Dennis Allen is still there.
Still
and
alive.
they might keep him. And if I'm Saints fans, and I know some Saints fans, and I've seen it on Twitter, are not going to be happy with this. Dennis Allen's got to go.
Yeah.
He needs to go ASAP. He needs to be gone by tomorrow. By the time this pod comes out, he should be gone. But
We don't know.
we don't know if that's going to be the
We don't
case.
know yet.
We mentioned Jags fired their DC Caldwell, other members of defensive staff as well. And so those are the main ones right now. Who I see to get fired, I hope that I'm not hoping for a guy to get fired. But for Saints fans' purposes, Dennis Allen is better as a coordinator, so he should not be a head coach. That's the only one I could think of.
Yeah, Dennis Allen obviously on top of their head for head coaching.
And Mike Vrabel is also on the hot seat.
On the hot seat. It makes sense as well.
Figure their thing out. Josh McDaniels could be the favorite to get the New England job, which is kind of crazy.
But
Or Mike Vrabel. I think he's between the two right now.
there's nothing without Belichick. But yeah, so those are all your firings and just news mumble jumble that always happens after the regular season.
Yeah, a couple of last bit of news here. The College Football Hall of Fame 2024 class was announced. A couple of notable names: Randy Moss, not Ross. Randy Moss and Larry Fitzgerald were among 19 players and 3 coaches in College Football Hall of Fame.
I think
class,
Alex Smith was in there as
that
well.
was announced Monday. Warwick Dunn of Florida State, Toby Gerhardt of Stanford, Julius Peppers of North Carolina, and Danny Woodhead of Chadron State also elected to the Atlanta-based hall by the new National Football Foundation.
All right. Speaking of college, congratulations first to all those guys. Obviously, legends. Randy Moss, Fitzgerald, Peppers, all these guys are all studs. But yeah, speaking of college, we had a college football final.
We forgot to make a prediction.
We did not make our predictions, but
We kind of did though. We did say the winner of
we did say the winner. Yeah,
Michigan. Bama will probably win it all.
But yeah, Michigan versus Washington. Penix coming off a great game against the Texas Longhorns, and JJ McCarthy coming up clutch along with Blake Corum in an overtime victory against Alabama. Battle of the undefeateds, 1-2, and Michigan was in control for the whole game. There was a little moment where obviously Washington had multiple drives to tie it with a touchdown, but that defense is absolutely stellar because Penix just wasn't on his game at all. His accuracy was not great. Obviously, honestly I believe is his best attribute, and Michigan won the D-line, O-line, right? They got pressure on Penix. They needed to. You can't let that guy sit in the pocket and pick you apart. And they made a move, and they made a move a lot, hit him. He was playing hurt at the end of the game, and just missed his spots, which you did not see at all this season.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing much to say. You watched the main bits of the game. I came home from work, and it was already at that point where it was halftime, so there was an opportunity. But like you said, the pick happened. He got stepped on. And after that, it was just the classic Michigan defense being disruptive. And yeah, nothing much to say.
So
something to be proud of.
This game would have been a blowout if Washington's defense didn't pick it up after the first quarter because they were running the ball all over them.
Yeah.
Right? And this game could have been like TCU, Georgia last year. But credit to Washington's defense, they picked it up.
Made it a game.
Their offense couldn't just click.
Yeah. But that being said, Washington is probably going to take a downfall here because they're going to lose Penix. They're going to lose Rome Odonzi as well and probably other players. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens next year. We'll be 12 teams, right? So that's the end of that era. Last thing, though, you agree that Jim Harbaugh is going to the NFL next year?
Yes, I think he wanted to get one win.
If he had lost, do you think he would have went still?
I think so. I think he just wanted to get. I think the final would have helped, like making to the final because he never won a playoff game. So I think because of that, I think he would have been in the NFL if he won or lost.
Yeah. So that's the end of the college football season. Those of you guys that are fans, you guys are probably gonna look into the draft and see who they are. This is mock draft season for everybody that's not in the playoffs right now. Even if you're in the playoffs, who knows? And see what college football players you need to look at. So, yeah, we'll end it there on the football talk. Like we said, make sure you guys tune in to a couple our football. It's gonna be like football week. We're gonna have rankings out. We're gonna have a special video out, and our predictions will be out on Thursday's episode. Let's move on. Let's go to MLB. We got some big major news there.
MLB, yes.
So off the bat, there was a signing. The Dodgers, once again, involved. I wonder if they were going to defer this money.
Well, to defer everything, man.
Dodgers and Teoscar Hernandez have agreed to a 1-year, $23.5 million deal, sources telling ESPN's Jeff Passan. If you're wondering who Teoscar Hernandez is, a former J, got traded to the Seattle Mariners in last year's offseason. His incentives on the contract are $1 million if he wins Silver Slugger, $500K if he finishes 11th to 15th in MVP voting, $2 million if he finishes 6th to 10th in MVP voting, and $3 million if he wins it to top 5.
They needed an outfield bat. I wanted them to get an outfield bat. He is a good outfield bat to get. Obviously not known for his defense, but he could hit the ball, and when he's on a tear, when he's hot, like he is very hot. But
he's a good guy to have like in your 4th, 5 spot if you really need to.
He's gonna be around that. I think he'll be around that. I think he'll be like 5th, 6th, honestly.
Yeah,
because you have Will Smith as well as in there.
Any other MLB?
Robbie Ray.
Oh yeah,
that was a trade.
So the Robbie Ray trade. Mariners traded Robbie Ray to the Giants for Mitch Haniger and Anthony DeSclafani. Mitch Haniger going back to the Seattle Mariners. San Francisco is also sending $6 million to the Mariners. And Yeah, so Ray is expected to return after the All-Star break next season after undergoing Tommy John in May. So he's still going to be missing half the year. He did sign a big contract, a 5-year contract, if I'm not mistaken, or a 6-year
Yeah,
contract.
5-year contract.
So this is still has like a couple of years on term. Obviously, San Francisco is trying to make win now moves. Robbie Ray can help that as long as he's healthy, and he's going back to the NL West because he was with Arizona, if I wasn't mistaken, before the Jays. Yeah, he's 32 though. He kind of was up.
I
And
mean,
down with
it's
the
a
Mariners.
it wasn't great for the Mariners. Obviously, he's came off a Cy Young win, which gave him the contract. And let's see what he does in the NL West again, where he kind of made his name.
But yeah, he's going to be going against.
It's the good news for him is he doesn't have to be the guy, because when he came and signed that contract with the Mariners,
He was supposed to be the guy.
he was supposed to be the ace.
Yeah.
And obviously they traded for Luis Castillo, so things changed there. But this guy's gonna be behind Logan Webb, so which could be a good thing for Robbie
But
Ray.
you'll be going against names like Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis, Shohei Ohtani, Corbin Carroll,
All these guys,
Freddie Freeman,
and
whoever you
we already
want to
know
name.
that's gonna be like another. That'll be
Who's the
contending.
Colorado.
That'll be contending
That's-
for that division. Will be contending for the AL East to be one of the
I know.
best. Huh?
Oh, contending with
Yeah,
the AL
contending
East,
with
okay.
the AL East. Yeah.
Your thoughts on Mitch Haniger returning? 33-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, he knows Seattle, outfield bat. Seattle needs outfield bats because they've been getting rid of everyone. They haven't really added anyone yet. He's not going to solve any of their issues, in my opinion. He's just going to be there, do his thing. Obviously, you could have the hope of like a breakout type thing, but they're gonna need a lot more moves because Mitch Haniger is not going to save you. That's all I'm going to say.
On the flip side, rumors are Jorge Soler. There's options. Jays are one of them. Mariners are one of them, obviously. And Red Sox, I believe, was one. That's a good outfield bat, DH bat you need. That's a former All-Star. Jock Peterson, obviously linked to the Blue Jays. And JD Martinez was linked to the Blue Jays as well, of course. And one other team, I forget who it was. So those are the 3 power bats on the top of my head that were... And obviously Cody Bellinger and Matt Chapman are still there. But in terms of like more of a... Not like a safe bet or... on the...
It's a team need, man. It's a team fit.
No. Like the word. Like obviously Cody Bellinger, Matt Chapman...
Low
are
risk,
getting
high reward.
Yeah, like they're trying to
You could
get
do
like those type of contracts.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially.
So it could be that. But that's MLB.
Oh no!
Obviously-
Last bit of
There's
news.
one more. What?
Michael Brantley
Oh yeah,
retired, and we
Yeah.
gotta say that once almost a J.
Once almost a
George
J.
Year. But
I
no,
mean-
great career. Obviously we know him more of what he did with Houston. Called it a career.
He did many things with Houston.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
well, Michael Brantley called it a career. Pretty
Exactly.
much.
Congrats to Michael Brantley.
Enjoy
And,
retirement.
Enjoy retirement. But MLB news, like we said, going on and on. Still some couple big names left. But let's move on to our next topic here, which will be
Let's go. We gotta go NHL. That's the
We gotta go NHL.
We gotta go NHL. We got one of the
Jamie-
biggest surprises.
Jamie Drysdale and a second round pick are headed to the Philadelphia Flyers for Cutter Gauthier. Gauthier. Is that how you pronounce it, right? And initial reaction. What the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Right? We're like, okay, it was a shock trade for sure. Philly made a smart move. Because they could have lost his kid for free. They could have lost his kid for nothing. The fact that, yes, Jamie Drysdale, okay, you did lose a trade. I'm going to say that. We both agree with that, right? But the W is you got a guy who is a young defenseman who will fit, obviously, is going to be in your pipeline. You got a second round pick. The thing with Jamie Drysdale is if he's
Healthy.
going to be healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, he was drafted 6th overall by the Ducks in 2020. He's played just 18 games over the past 2 seasons due to injuries. Drysdale is in his first season of a 3-year contract with a $2.3 million cap hit, which was signed back in October after a difficult negotiation himself as a restricted free agent. So, yeah, you said you know a little bit more of this. Anaheim had defensemen already in the pipeline.
Yeah, like I don't know how to pronounce the name, but like this guy was in like early Calder race as well. When I think he's not obviously Bedard is gonna be a question mark now for winning because of he's injured.
You still might get
But Mionkov, there's one of their defensemen. They have a couple other in the pipeline as well. So if they believe in Cutter Gauthier that much, right, which they clearly do, they say that this could be your franchise guy. Obviously, you already have McTavish and Zegras and all these guys as well. You could afford to lose a defenseman that barely played for you, a young guy at the end of the day, a talented defenseman, to help upgrade your thing, especially when you have depth in your defensive pipeline prospect pool, basically.
They still could lose. They could still lose Cutter Gauthier.
Exactly, but that's
Cutter
not
Gauthier, 19-year-old, starred with the USA, with the World Juniors, who just won gold, which we'll talk about later. He co-led the tournament with 12 points and was named to the media All-Star team. He was the 5th overall pick, who's currently playing in 2022. Currently playing at Boston College. As mentioned, he said pretty much told Daniel Briere, the GM of Philly, that I ain't gonna sign with you, play with you. Which I have my own thoughts, which I'll get into in a second. I'm sure you do too. Yeah. So Cutter Gauthier essentially was the plan to be the guy there.
He was considered untouchable until obviously he had his remarks.
Yes,
and
like Daniel Briere.
Flyers, yeah.
Daniel Briere confirmed that he didn't want to sign with the team. He has 2 years of college eligibility remaining after this season, at which Gauthier can elect for free agency rather than sign with a team that has his rights. So Anaheim still might lose him if he really wants to. Could do what Adam Fox did, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah, if he didn't want to be here, we're happy to move on. Travis Hanheim just said that as well.
Makes sense.
By the way, this was well reported by Daily Faceoff's Frank Saravelli, so shout out the source there. My thoughts, though, like, it's so dumb. Like, obviously, if you see this, Canucks fans are probably like, yo, Connor, why didn't you do this? Obviously, I think this is the beneficial part of playing college, I guess, as well. So thank you, Hughes, for not doing this.
Yeah,
that's the number one. But no, all jokes aside, though, like, it's stupid. You're a young kid, right? You're not what Anthony, like, watching basketball in the background, you're not what Anthony Davis was going through, or you're not...
you haven't done anything.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Like,
you have not done anything.
Yeah, like, you weren't any of these guys in the past. Like if McDavid were to request a trade next year if the Oilers miss out the playoffs or get out in the first round, I wouldn't blame him.
Different story.
But I'm just saying that's a whole different story.
But the point is, you have not done anything.
Yeah.
Right? You have no right to call the shots. Right? And obviously, you have the opportunity to. We're not going to blame you. You took your opportunity. You did what you had to do what you want to do, which I don't know what you want to do. But you, like, it's hard. It's definitely difficult, obviously, when you're getting drafted, right? Like, that organization made your dream come true, and you're just telling them to.
No, it's not even like you didn't even snake him. Like, so for example,
he did snake him.
No. Like, I mean, I was gonna give an example. In the Keegan Murray draft, so Keegan Murray went 4th to the Kings. I think it was 4th.
Yeah.
Jaden Ivey was projected to go 4th in all mock drafts. Jaden Ivey pretty much told kind of the right thing in a way to the Kings. I don't want to play for you guys. Kings were like, you know what? Fine, we prefer Keegan anyways. Sure, we'll take Keegan. You told Daniel Briere, according to Daniel Briere, though, that you wanted to be a Flyer and all that stuff. And then they flew all the way to Sweden to try to get your contract figured out and everything, and you pretty much denied them. You didn't even meet with them. You just pretty much said, I don't want to sign with you. It's not a good look, right? And I get it. Adam Fox did it. Look how good Adam Fox is. I get that you get to go wherever you want. But, like, that's just like a brat move, essentially. Like, yeah, we know you're a good hockey player. We'll see how you truly are.
Yeah.
Imagine if you choke, you're gonna be laughing stock ever.
I'm just gonna say this much, right? Like, we're not taking a shot at your talent. We're taking a shot at your character. Teams look at character, right? And you haven't made yourself a good look, saying that what team is gonna be like, oh, this guy might just snake us again, right? There's always gonna be that question mark. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're that good, when you've been showing that in the World Juniors and in a college level, nobody's really going to care. So, but that's just our thoughts. We're just putting it out there. Like I said, nobody gives a shit about Adam Fox, what he did, because he's so good. So, yeah, so you just got to prove it now.
Yeah,
the pressure's on you.
It's just like,
the pressure is on you.
It's a bad taste in a
it is a bad taste, but it is what it is. The pressure's on the kid, right? If he doesn't perform, he's going to be a meme. If he does perform, it's all going to be forgotten.
Yeah, Philly is funny though, because it happened to Philly, the flip side, where Eric Lindros snaked Quebec and then joined Philly. Karma. So it comes back.
It bites him in the ass.
Same thing. Whoever passed on Michkov didn't want to play on those teams. They didn't pick Michkov, and Michkov wanted to go to Philly. He ended up getting Philly, right? So yeah, no, it is what it is. It's. I think it's just stupid. You haven't played a single game in the NHL yet.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, we can't
Like
say
the guy,
much.
the team wants you for a reason.
It is what it is.
It is. Yeah.
All right. Nylander extension.
Yeah. Official.
8
Toronto.
year, 11 and a half
Full
AAV.
Full no move clause as well.
The Toronto Maple Leafs do like paying their guys
They're four.
a lot of
guys.
money, a lot of money that they don't really have any defensemen or goaltending. But we're going to talk about strict Nylander. We're not going to talk about the Leafs. Nylander is having a good year himself.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's earned this contract. A couple of years ago, he had that holdout until December until they finally agreed. And he didn't have a good year then, but after that,
That's because he held out.
yeah, after that, Nylander's been every bit as advertised, and the forwards are nice. The forwards are definitely talented, but the issue is on the other side. But we have nothing as Nylander. He deserved his contract fully.
Yeah. 11.5 million. Question mark with the Leafs is you still have Tavares for one more year. So how are you gonna fill out the rest of the depth of what you're missing? Defensively, you're screwed. Goaltending wise, Joseph Wall's injured until he comes back. You're screwed. Martin Jones is doing a decent enough job to hold, but yeah. Question marks are gonna be there. How are they gonna do? But like I said, William Nylander was arguably their best playoff performer usually when it comes down to it. So
he is.
even more than Matthews at times, but. Yeah, it is what it is. Let's see. The big question mark for the Leafs is always going to be what they're going to do in the playoffs. And if the other guys don't step up, Nylander doesn't step up. Like it could be like, oh, I got paid, now I could chill. I don't hope he's not that type of guy. But so let's see how it is. I think he's locked up long term now. I think so. Matthews has 4 more years.
Yeah.
I don't know how much Marner. I think Marner and Tavares both have like 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. 1 or 2 years more. But yeah, at the end of the day, congrats, you got your money. Players deserve to get paid, especially in the NHL.
You've been playing well.
But we all know what the big question mark from this is.
What the hell are they going to do in the playoffs?
No, I'm leading to a different team.
Who?
To team on your shirt.
Oh yeah, when we sign a PD.
Yeah, so PD. So according to Elliot Friedman, 32 thoughts. PD is just like, I ain't gonna sign. I'm just gonna wait till the offseason. Nothing else.
Nah,
You could probably give him full on ownership. He might say like, yeah, I'm gonna wait still.
yeah.
So
Obviously,
this is gonna be a
as a Canucks fan, we are scared. But as also a Canucks fan, he is playing with 0 distractions. He's playing with no issues, and it showed this past game where he got 3 points against the New York Rangers. And he's coming back. You know, obviously he had a little tough stretch in end of November, beginning December, around there. But he's coming back to his game again. Obviously the Canucks are looking as good as they have been so far.
A lot of lines back together. But yeah, no,
well.
the question of Pettersson, what's going to be his comp, right? He's Nylander's a winger, and he's older, right? Which means if it's 11.5, he probably wants a minimum 12. I think Pasternak signed a cheap ass deal, but it's at 11 million, right? So yeah, let's see what Pettersson does at this point. I'm just gonna wait till it happens and see what happens.
It's all season, boys.
Yeah.
That's basically it. All stars.
So they got announced the first 32 players.
Yeah, we're not gonna name every single one because you guys could look at that for yourself. It's 1 per team, which is an issue because for a team like the Canucks, we think that we should have at least 4 locked in.
5.
5. Well,
Brock Besser's third in goals and he might not even get in, which
exactly.
is crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Obviously, we see the big names like
You see
Connor
them-
McDavid's.
you see the
Connor
McDavid.
Bedard is the youngest All-Star ever to make
Yeah,
it.
you see the McDavid,
But
you see the Bedard.
Before we say name, okay, so the Canucks representative is Quinn Hughes.
Exactly. But the issue is Cam Talbot got in over Thatcher Demko at the moment. Which is like, okay, when you think about it, I'm like, how the hell did Demko not get in? Then I realized Hughes is the best player
It's
on the
limited. No, I have an issue with this. You can't tell me for whatever reason Anaheim deserves an All-Star. You can't tell me for any reason San Jose deserves an All-Star. Columbus deserves an All-Star. None of these guys deserve an All-Star. I don't give a shit. You want to represent 1 per team? Boo-hoo. Play better. Simple as that. It's so dumb. I don't have issues with Connor Bedard making it, but I wouldn't have been mad if he doesn't make it either because the team is ass.
Yeah, no,
At the same
but
time.
at the end of the
That's
day,
a different. That's the money
he
side of
deserved.
things.
He deserved to make it.
He
deserved to make it.
I would probably say other players
Bedard deserved to make
would have made it over him.
Bedard deserved to
I
make
would. That's a different argument. We're not going to get
Yeah.
into that. But like, I would have been
So
perfectly
take
fine if
Bedard out
Bedard
of the
did not
question.
make
But
it.
yeah, agree with you 100%. Columbus, San Jose, Anaheim.
Like some of these like teams deserve 0. You're telling me now because it comes to fan voting, Leon Draisaitl is going to get in. Mitch Marner is probably going to get in. William Nylander's probably going to get in.
I feel like, I'm telling you right now, someone like JT Miller's going to be left out.
It's going to be because the Canucks, I'm not saying the Canucks should get all 5 because clearly that just means we're extremely biased.
Yeah, 4.
There are many other teams like...
We know the 4 who should get in, right?
Yeah.
All right, PD deserves to be in, Demko deserves to be in, Miller deserves to be in, and Hughes, who's already in.
Besser.
So that's make it 5 then.
So 5, those 5 deserve to be in. But we know that someone's going to get snubbed. And it's probably going to be JT, but I think some of these guys don't even care about being All-Stars because you could tell they were miserable in the thing. It's just dumb. Like, these guys don't deserve to be an All-Star. Why give them the spot, right? Like, I don't know who even got in for the other teams. That's how bad they were.
Yeah, we don't know. We honestly, this is why we're not going to list everything. And honestly, there's 32 teams. You guys could check it out yourself. Fan voting is going to happen for the remaining, 8 skaters per conference, and I think another goalie as well. So catch those up that will be coming up soon. And also the format's been changed since you guys already know that as well. But yeah, as Canucks fans, we hope we get 4 more. But other than that, can't really say much because that's what it is. NFL did the same thing many years where they had every team gets a primetime game. They changed that up this year. I think the NHL should change up their All-Star formatting as well for the upcoming years as well.
It's ridiculous. It's so dumb. Dude, that's what I like what the NBA has done. They just take the best guys.
Yeah.
They easily could have been picking 1 from each team.
Exactly.
I understand different circumstances, not that many players on the thing, but yeah, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's dumb.
Let's move on. And we have to congratulate the USA World Junior Hockey Team of winning the gold medal in Sweden against Sweden. And Sweden takes silver, and I believe Czechia takes bronze. They beat Finland, right?
Yeah, I think they came back.
Yeah.
They came from behind.
I think they scored 6 unanswered goals.
Yeah, something like that.
And then
Sweden, once again, the leader of silver medals.
Exactly. Canada disappointed. They lost in the quarterfinals to Czechia, which was a rematch of the last year's gold medal game. And USA, obviously we're going to be a powerhouse. Ryan Leonard, Will Smith, all these guys are playing. And they got the gold medal. I was really going against USA, not because they're USA and we're Canada, because they snubbed my boy Hunter Busnevich, right? So they're gonna need that Canucks prospect, but I guess they did not at all.
Yeah, the Canucks prospects in Sweden though killed it. Lekkerimäki ended up getting MVP, which is massive after the year he had. Poor year he had in the World Juniors himself, being injured and sick, and his Swedish club team, whatever he plays on. So him, obviously Elias Pettersson was on a pairing with Axel Sandin Pellikka, which was the top pair, their team's top pair, which he played over 20 minutes. And then Willander looked good for a young guy. So, let's see how it works out. NHL draft-wise, Macklin Celebrini did well, but it is what it is. So we'll see.
It's World Juniors. It does flip-flop around a lot. But yeah, Canada definitely did disappoint. And it's not a good feeling, especially in hockey.
All right, let's just move on to some quick-fire topics. Couple of things left here. Let's just get right to the combat sports world. UFC. First off, 2 former UFC legends, Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal, planning a rematch, but in the boxing world. So let's see how that goes. It'll be fun to see.
That'll be fun to watch.
Other news that dropped today, UFC 300 has added another fight in a title eliminator fight, which is Charles Oliveira is to fight Armin Tasarukian.
So it's a number 1 contender.
Yeah, so essentially this will be the number 1 contender. Makhachev ain't going to fight because of Ramadan and I think other injury as well. He will... Yeah, so essentially this fight will happen later in the summer, and then the winner of that will probably verse Gaethje to close it out. So that's that one. UFC 299 looks stacked, by the way.
Yeah.
It's number 3 lightweight contender Dustin Poirier will face the surging Benoit Saint Denis at UFC 299 in Miami in March 9. Excuse me. This is a 5-round fight as well.
Wow. 5-rounder.
5-round co-main event. I think this is the main event for Sugar,
yeah.
Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Versus
And then
Vera.
this is also UFC debut or comeback, whatever it is, for Michael Venom Page. So yeah, this is going to be a sick card. So it's just good to start off the year. Obviously, UFC should be coming up in a couple of weeks here. So that's the news in the UFC world. Speaking of former UFC heavyweight champion, Francis Ngannou will now be facing Anthony Joshua, which is now a done deal for a 10-round boxing match to take place in Saudi Arabia, according to Ariel Helwani reporting this, and it is official thing. So let's see how that goes. So obviously, everybody knows what Francis Ngannou did against Tyson Fury. Granted, people can make their own conclusion.
But we've seen the best Joshua in a long, long time as well. So I believe that this fight will definitely be way tougher for Ngannou, just because Fury was fooling around. Joshua's taking no BS. Showed down his last fight, and we'll see a good one. Fury, Ngannou has some tape on him as well, right? That's one advantage you have as a rookie, right? One advantage you have coming into your first ever game, fight, whatever you are in. No one really has tape on you and at that level, and now you have some on you.
Yeah, I still think it should have been Deontay Wilder. That's just me, instead of Joshua. But it is what it is. It's the money fight. People are going to tune in after, especially when Ngannou did. We'll see. And the thing with Joshua is he also has been an up and down fighter. We only saw one good fight of him. Let's see if that's consistent and see how he does. The other rumored fight for the same card, for that same that day would potentially be Deontay Wilder back on the undercard, taking on Zhilei Zhang.
Wow.
So if we are getting the same Wilder, that he's probably getting knocked out.
Oh yeah, 100%.
This is definitely going to be a knockout fight. That's
probably,
for sure.
Yeah, probably.
Zhilei Zhang obviously coming up first time upset win on Joe Joyce, and then again he beat him in the rematch. Both times are, I think, ref stoppages, if I'm not mistaken. And I would love to see him versus Wilder. It'll be hilarious. Let's see what Wilder we get though. That's the question. That's nothing. That has no talks or anything like that. That's just a rumor. But this is what's true. After hanging out with Floyd Mayweather, Ryan Garcia has decided that he does not want to fight Haney anymore. He wants to go back to Rolly Romero. And people are not saying that's a coincidence because he hung out with Floyd. But he essentially said Devin Haney ain't the money guy, so he needs me more than I need him. I want to go after Rolly Romero. Let's see what happens. And let's see. Oscar De La Hoya is saying like he told us to go get Haney. And we were doing that, so I don't know what he's doing now, but let's see how that goes. I don't. Maybe the right move though. Just give him.
He needs a win, man. He needs a win.
He needs a
Coming
win.
off a loss, right? He needs. Obviously, Haney is going to be more 50-50. Rolly Romero, you should be the favorite.
I can't say too much.
It's still going to be a tough fight.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But
Rolly Romero has the belt.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Like at the end of the day, we can't.
He is a favorable.
We
chance
can't disrespect what Garcia has done. Prior to the Tank fight as well.
Garcia is the money fight. Like he is the big name fight. He is the guy that's on YouTube and supports influencer boxing and everything, right? So Garcia is the money draw.
Yeah, for sure.
Haney, as good as he is, unless you're not a pure boxing purist, he won't be a money draw unless you want to watch boxing. Like we want to watch boxing. We know how good Devin Haney is. We'll tune in. But someone that doesn't know him, like someone that's seen him on like a Tattoo Hype channel, probably would rather see Ryan Garcia because they've seen him on a Tattoo Hype channel, or with Logan Paul or with Jake Paul, so on and so forth. Or he's shit talking KSI and stuff, right? So he is gonna be the more of a draw. So let's see. So that's potentially a rumor. I don't know when that will happen.
So that's the combat world.
That's the combat world.
Let's move on to NBA, which is also part of our Quickfire. Starting off with some bad news in the NBA.
Oh, I think I'm going to go with the Draymond news for a sec. Bad news in the NBA. John Morant out for the year, torn labrum. Unfortunately, just came back. Memphis' season's pretty much done.
It's over. It is over.
Yeah.
Sorry, Memphis Grizzlies fan. But you should be looking at a high draft pick and a potential comeback from next year as well. But yeah, John Morant, who's been playing well since his return from suspension, is out with a torn labrum. And it really sucks. It's a big blow.
Another injury, Tyrese Halliburton strains his hamstring, and we don't know the extent. If it's grade 1, obviously a couple of weeks. Grade 2, a little longer. Grade 3 is a potential.
It's hamstring, man. It's got to take time.
He was carried off, and he'll go on an MRI on Tuesday. So let's see. He was. We'll get to the All-Stars in a second, but he was our All-Star starter essentially.
And the last injury here is
Chris Paul. Chris Paul has. What did he do?
Fractured his hand.
Yeah, fractured his hand. Who was a potential trade piece, which still could happen at the end of the day, but.
Yeah, so those are three latest news in the NBA there. And also we have our All-Star voting. We have some leaders.
No, before we go to the All-Star voting. Draymond Green.
Oh, yeah, Draymond Green, yeah.
Draymond Green is officially back. He's reinstated by the NBA. He has come out and he re-signed with The Volume on YouTube for his podcast. And he did come out and share his thoughts of everything that happened. He did say he was close to retiring.
Yeah, he did.
He said he talked with Adam Silver. Adam Silver talked him out of it. He talked with Steve Kerr, obviously. He said he felt bad that, well, Stephen A. Smith, so obviously he's going to make headlines by saying, like, Steph Curry and a great leader because of what happened to Draymond. Draymond, obviously, that's stupid. Steph's, like, I agree with that. Like, that's dumb. I didn't watch the whole pod, so I can't.
Like Steph's not gonna baby Draymond, right?
Exactly, right.
Like, exactly.
He's not gonna tell him to stop curb stomping people. So
you don't need to tell a guy to do that.
yeah. So obviously his presence comes. Listen, Draymond Green, the basketball player, is missed in the NBA. Draymond Green, the antics, is not missed in the NBA.
Exactly.
You're not a Rafi Torres. Right, you're not a Matt Cook from the NBA.
It's not hockey, man.
Right, you're not
it's a completely different sport.
Yeah.
You get freaking calls
even
for
in
touching.
hockey, that's like crazy.
I touch you in the arm, it's a foul.
Yeah,
right. There's no need for freaking punches, curb stomps, and knockout.
And then complaining like a little bitch to the refs
Exactly.
afterwards,
So,
like nothing has happened.
If you're a hockey player, do whatever you want. If you're a football player, do whatever you want.
Yeah. So
but you're not.
The Warriors need to get going. Obviously, they got their ass kicked by the Raptors, and Steph Curry hasn't been playing well. So this is his second time this year that he has not hit a 3-pointer, which he is not, which is unheard of because he just ended the streak a couple of weeks ago, and then he broke it again in a couple of games against you guys. So obviously Warriors fans need to figure something out. It's not Warriors fans. Warriors need to figure something out to help the team.
Hey man, the figure out
because at the end
is
of the
simple.
day, they're still a good enough team.
The figuring out is simple. Curry's got to figure out his game. As simple as that.
Not even just that. Like other guys,
they have no chance.
They also need to give them a. Because
obviously you need help.
Yeah,
doesn't matter who your help is. If Curry ain't playing, you're screwed.
Which is fair, like 100%. Like if your star ain't playing, you're probably not gonna win.
You're screwed.
So, and in this case, you are the guy. No one else is doing shit for you. You right. But now you're gonna get some help back with Draymond defensively and a playmaker, so you can play off the ball a little bit more, especially with Chris Paul being injured. And but at the end of the day, Warriors need to make a move. Rumors are, like I said, Siakam is still there. There's obviously guys like Lauri Markkanen.
There's Levine, DeRozan, all these guys as well. But yeah, let's move on to All-Star voting.
So speaking of Steph Curry and the All-Star, he is still the leading vote getter
for the West guards.
For the why is there so many odds on my phone?
The West guards.
No,
right?
he's not. Luka is.
Okay, Luka is.
He's top 2 though, so which means that Shea is coming off the bench, which I think is bullshit.
It is BS.
Like I said, based on performance,
the popularity contest.
Based on performance, Shea and Luka have to be the starters. Performance strictly.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We all know it's gonna be a voting thing, so Luka and Steph will probably just get it. Shea will probably move up as an injury replacement starter, but at the most. So right now the top guards are Luka, Steph, Shea, James Harden.
So those are your top 4 there.
And Kyrie Irving rounding
top
out the 5.
Yeah.
Somehow Klay Thompson's in here and Austin Reeves.
Popularity
Front court, LeBron is leading the way with he's second total NBA, but one of the only 2 million votes. It's top 5 are LeBron, Kevin Durant, Jokic, AD, Kawhi Leonard. Honestly, nothing.
That's fair.
I'm surprised if Wembanyama didn't get more votes just
That's
cause.
fair. It's fair.
But those are fair.
But moving on to the East side.
East side, Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell, Tyrese Maxey. Love to see him get love, but Jalen Brunson needs to be in the top 5 in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
In terms of voting, but we all know it's gonna be Halliburton and probably
get Trae Young out there, put Jalen Brunson in.
Yeah, and then front court wise, it's Giannis, Embiid, Tatum, Butler, Jalen Brown, running the top 5 there. Kyle Kuzma's in the top 10.
My boy Scotty snubbed.
So yeah, I mean that's on you and the Raptors fans and the whole any Raptor fan in Canada not voting for him in.
That's
voting wise. So if this is how it goes, I'm pretty sure the starters are based. It's not 100% on the voting.
No, it's like there's
50%
a ratio.
fan vote.
There's a ratio to it.
Yeah, so it's 50% fan vote, and then the other 2 are split. 25 and 25 are
media and like coaches.
Media and I don't think it's coaches. It's media and someone else.
GMs, I don't know.
Because the benches are picked by coaches. If I'm
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Oh, players.
I guess.
The 25% is the players. So if that's the case, then Shea should get in based on.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The other thing, but yeah. So those are the NBA votes so far. So if you're feeling sad of why your favorite player that might deserve a chance is not top 5, go vote for him. Simple as that. Tell your fan base to go vote for him. Go put a Reddit post up. You know, like Jovan said, Scotty should be in there. Well, Raptors fans get to work. Simple as that.
But those are our quickfire topics in general. We're gonna move on to our last one. In soccer.
Starting off with some very sad news again. Soccer legend. Let me just put up the exact information here.
Yeah, soccer legend, German legend, Bayern Munich legend,
Franz Beckenbauer is how old? As soon as he has age, that's it. Franz Beckenbauer has passed away at the age of
I believe it's 78.
at the age
Well, you still can't find it.
at the age of 78. Like I said, like Jovan said, German Bayern Munich defender, legend. I actually had a stint in New York for a little bit, New York Cosmos.
Franz Beckenbauer has unfortunately passed away at the age of 78. German legend, Bayern Munich legend, and an icon in general. One of the best defenders of all time. Obviously, he's up there with the Maldinis. He's up there with the Cannavaros and all these guys as well. And it's just a lost in the soccer world.
Yeah, so rest in peace to a legend. Let's move on. Let's go to some transfers that happened. First ever Canadian in the Serie A has finally been done. Tajon Buchanan is an Inter Milan player.
Big money moves.
Which is insane. Which is good for him as well. He's been doing well.
Competition is needed, right? We need these players to go. Obviously, you have Davies in the Champions League and in the German league, the Bundesliga. You have Jonathan David in the Liga, right? And then now you have a Serie A player in Tajon Buchanan, obviously, who is a former Club Brugge player, which is going to help him because the competition has grown. And Inter is definitely one of the top teams in Serie A. They're always contending for a title, especially the last couple of years. And it's going to really help out him and his development because he's taking the small steps forward. Just hope he doesn't crumble. That's all we care.
Yeah, so that's one. The other rumors are Jadon Sancho going back on loan to Dortmund from Man United. That's one. There is no other rumors really on the top of my head. So we'll leave it there for that right now. I don't want to waste too much time on that. But those are the big ones. Van de Beek went to Germany.
That was already done deal, yeah.
So there's that AFCON. If you guys want to watch international, AFCON should be starting soon. Africa Cup of Nations. FA Cup though, we got the next round set. Liverpool beat Arsenal was the big matchup, early matchup. But the next big matchup is Man City will be facing Tottenham as one of them. And Aston Villa
Chelsea
will get Chelsea. So, this is why I love the FA Cup. It's just random.
It's so random,
it's
right?
It's so random.
What you think is supposed to be a final, it's just a round 3.
The other big teams...
It's just a round 3 cup match. I was like, what the hell?
The other quote-unquote big teams, Liverpool will be facing the winner of Norwich and Bristol Rovers. Man United got through and they'll be playing the winner of Newport or Eastleigh.
Probably lose that game. Yeah, so that's FA Cup, yeah.
FA Cup there. So yeah, we'll leave it there for now. But appreciate everybody for watching. Once again, thank you so much for getting us our first 1,000 viewed video to now over 7K views on the video on the Canucks one. Thank you so much for helping us start the new year off with a bang. 300 subscribers, now at 314. Help us get to 400, 500 going forward. Right now it's 400. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned this weekend. We have a guest video dropping. And make sure you guys follow our socials linked down below. We always post on Reels, TikToks, YouTube Shorts. And audio listeners, appreciate you guys whoever download this and you guys rate it and please review it as well. Other than that, we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.